Hi there, I'm Michelle the Painter, and this is Paint and Sip at Home. Today I'm going to be painting Gone Fishing, and I'm sipping on some black tea. And this painting that I did today is inspired by a photo that was submitted by one of my Patreon members by the name of Nan Parham. And I have this benefit for my Patreon members whereby every now and again I put out a call for photos. They'll submit the photos. I select some of them and I turn them into YouTube tutorials. And as a thank you, I will send the original painting off to whoever submitted the photo. So I hope Nan enjoys this painting. So if you are interested in learning more about the Patreon membership program, where there's a bunch of benefits that you get to use to increase your artistic skills, or how you can submit your photos to me in order to be in consideration for these projects, I have all of that information down below in the video description. So now it's time to let's get painting and let's get sipping. All right, so for my materials today, I'm going to be using a stretched and primed 16 by 20 inch canvas. If you're painting along, you can certainly switch up the size, but that's what I'll be using. I'm going to be using acrylic paint today. My colors are titanium white, burnt umber, which I like to call brown, Mars black, green oxide, chrome yellow, burnt sienna, which sometimes I call rust, fire red, and cobalt blue. And of course you can switch up those colors if you'd like, but that's what I'll be using. For my tools today, I have a standard number 2 pencil that I'm going to be using for some drawing. And then I have 3 brushes from my personal brush line, which is Michelle the Painter brushes. I have a 3/4 inch wide flat bristle brush, and I have a number 6 and a number 2 round synthetic brushes. And I might refer to these as small, medium, and large, or I'll just call them out by their given name throughout the painting process. And of course you can switch those up. If you're painting along with me, you're probably going to want to have some kind of cup of water to wash your brushes, as well as a paper towel to dry your brushes. Excuse me. I have a little tickle in my throat right now. And down below this video, in the video description, I will provide you with a few additional resources that can help you throughout your painting process. One of them is a link to my shop where you could purchase the same exact paint kit that I'm using, from the same size and type of canvas to the same type of paints and brushes and all the good stuff in between. You can also purchase from my shop things individually, like the brushes from my brush line. So that's there. There's also a link where you can download a free image of the final painting. So you can print that and use it as visual reference as you go through the painting process. And there's also written step-by-step instructions down there for you as well. And that's all we're going to need today. All right, so what we're going to do for the first step is we're going to be painting a base coat onto the canvas with the large bristle brush. The colors I'm going to be using in this step are white, brown, and black, and I'm going to pre-mix myself 2 custom colors. One of them I'm going to call beige, and the other one I'm going to call gray. It's a warm gray, but I'm still going to call it gray. So I have pre-mixed both of those colors here on my palette so you can see where I'm headed as I demonstrate how to make them. I'm going to be using my number 2 round to just demonstrate how to pre-mix these colors. So this is going to be the beige color that I was referring to. You can see it next to my white, how it's a little bit darker. How I achieved it is mostly white and then a little bit of brown. So I'm just going for a really light, super light tan, which I'm going to refer to as beige, because it's almost like just an off-white kind of color, but you definitely want it darker than white. You don't want it to be confused with your white. So I'm making it into this nice, warm, white beige color. So that'll be that. The gray color that I'm going for is right here. How I achieved this is quite a bit of white quite a bit of brown, probably about equal parts of white and brown, and just a touch of black. The black is really powerful and will turn it into the gray. Oh, I definitely need to go darker than that. So more, that was the ratio there was too much white, so I'm adding more brown and then maybe just a touch more black. The black is really powerful and will turn it into its dull kind of tone that I'm looking for. So it doesn't just look like a light brown or a tan. I want it to have a gray undertone to it. So I'm referring to it as a warm gray, just to give you kind of a visual where to steer yours. And it's mid-tone, so that'll work out for that. So once you've got those two colors in play, I'm going to give myself a gradient from light to dark, light at the top to dark at the bottom. I'm going to start with my beige color up at the top, and I'm just going to give it a good left to right type of brush stroke. I don't need this to be anything fancy right now. This is just the base coat. We will add some dimensional elements to this as we go through the painting process, but right now I'm just looking for a base coat onto my canvas. So this painting that I'm doing is inspired by a photo reference, and the photo reference has this little person fishing what appears to be perhaps in the morning. Maybe there's a little fog on the water, or reflections of a maybe cloudy sky, but the water itself, which is what this gradient is going to end up being, is a pretty dull kind of color. So I'm just going to go for these really soft, muted, neutral type of natural tones. So once I get a little bit past my halfway point, this is where I'm going to start introducing a little bit of my gray tone. I don't want it to go too dark too fast, so I'm definitely going to just use both of those colors initially, maybe pick up a little bit more of my beige to get it to blend a little bit further down. And again, you don't need it to be a perfect blend at this point. We're gonna be doing additional stuff on top of it. Again, I just picked up both my beige and my gray, so something like that in through here. And then there's gonna be a big rock and some grass and stuff in through here, so I'm going to start picking up my gray color just so this gets a little bit deeper and darker in tone down towards the bottom and this left hand corner. So you can just kind of put it on pretty heavily, and then I'm going to just maybe add a little bit more of my beige where these two kind of meet in through here. And you could also paint the edges or the sides of your canvas if you wanted to, but that these days have been waiting till after I'm completed the painting to do that, but you could certainly do that along the way if you wanted to. And again, don't worry if this isn't perfect at this point, because you're going to have another layer that we're going to put on it that'll give it a little bit more dimension. So I'm just kind of going lightly back and forth, allowing the dirtiness of my brush and the softness of my touch to just kind of blend this out a little bit. And then I'm going to be using this same brush for the next step. So once you've got this done, you can wash and dry this large brush and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to finish the water. I'm going to be using my large bristle brush to paint, but I'm going to be using my number 2 round to demonstrate how to premix 2 more custom colors. The colors I'm going to use in this step are beige, gray, red, blue, and white. And I'm going to premix myself a light blue and a mauve color, which is a very dull pinkish tannish color. So I'm saying I'm finishing the water, but I'm going to be doing the reflection of the trees later. So it'll be the water minus the reflection and minus the little ripple where the fishing pole lure is in the water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a little bit more reflective qualities to the water. I'm gonna show you how I pre-mixed my 2 custom colors here, which are on my palette. So this is my mauve type of a color. I don't need much of this because I'm just gonna be using it in conjunction with my other colors as just a little accent on the water. So how I achieved this was I used a little bit of my gray and then I added red and white to it. So this is gonna give me this really dull pinkish tannish color. That's a little bit too dark, so I'm adding a touch more white into it. I'm being very cautious because I know how quickly the white will turn it too light. So something like this, and you can see it next to that's also a little bit too pink, so I can add a touch more of my gray to it. You can see it next to my gray how it does have a pinkish hue to it, but again, it's not screaming pink. It's just something that's going to be really dull and subtle, and I'm going to be oh, you can add a touch of blue to it too if you want it more of like a lavendery type of a color. I did add now that I'm remembering how I mixed it, I added a tiny dot of blue into it as well, so that'll turn it a little bit more lavendery as opposed to pinky, if that makes sense. So something like that works. And then the next color I'm going to go is light blue. So this is my light blue here. How I achieved this is same thing that I did with the mauve, is I used a little bit of my gray and I added just a touch of blue into it and a little bit of white. So the white is going to lighten it up. The blue is going to give it a bluish hue. Just spin it here and make sure. I think I need just a touch more blue in that. And I don't want it super dark. So again, this is just going to be an accent within my water that's going to show maybe just little hints of the sky on it. This water is super still looking in the photo, so I don't need to make a lot of adjustments to make it look ripply or anything like that. So those are the colors I'm going for. I'm going to start with my beige, and I'm going to kind of do something similar to what I did on the first round, which is just light at the top and darker at the bottom, but I'm going to introduce a little bit of that mauve and the light blue as I go through the process. So I'm starting with a little bit of my beige color, starting up at the top, and once I get it a little wet, you can go left to right, or you could do a circular motion. It's up to you. I'm going to just go left to right, so that way I ensure that I've got it nice and soft looking. So at any time you can pick up a little bit of your pink or your blue or your mauve or your blue and just allow that to intermingle with the beige color. So beige plus a little tiny dot of my mauve or a little tiny dot of my blue, and that's gonna again just allow you to get these really realistic kind of hues within that water without making it appear too colorful, because in this photo these are not very colorful hues of color, so I'm just allowing myself to have those soft tones. You can even take a tiny bit of water on your brush, and that will allow you to just kind of smooth it out, blend it out a little bit more, use it as more of kind of a glaze as opposed to a solid color on there, which is why I'm using the beige with it too. That helps me to just allow it to work together and have those little bits of hues in there without overpowering it. So beige, my blue, my mauve, those type of color, all these three colors are going to give me this really nice effect as I go through this this kind of spatial atmospheric dimension that I'm putting in the water. So very faint, very subtle. It's just allowing me to capture some of those hues that I'm seeing in the photo without making it, again, too colorful. That's what, you know, I'm watching the photo and I'm trying to pick out the colors that I'm seeing, but they're really subtle and they're really just faint. You could also, as you're coming down towards this bottom area, I might even use a little a little bit of yellow as I go, or even burnt sienna as I come down towards the shoreline, because in the photo where the little splash is, or the little fishing rod is entering into the water, it looks like somewhere around here that there's almost these little rusty tones in the water. So you could do that now with, I'm touching my brush into burnt sienna and yellow, which I didn't say I was going to use. So a little tiny smudge of burnt sienna and yellow are on my brush right now, with maybe a little bit of my beige. So you could add these tiny hues in the water in through here, because I am definitely seeing a little bit of this going on in through here. Not much, just a itty bitty bit. So this is my beige and a little bit of burnt sienna and maybe a touch of the yellow. And again, just these really subtle hues. Tiny bit of water on my brush to allow me to kind of blend this in a little bit. That's looking pretty good. Maybe a little tiny bit more of my blue, my custom blue. And then down in this bottom area, I'm going to just go back into my gray color on my dirty brush just to give myself a second coat, but I don't need to do anything fancy down in this bottom area, simply because I'm going to have a big rock. But I do see maybe there's a little bit of this mauve, maybe a little bit of this light blue kind of coming over in through here. Again, super subtle. And yours don't even have to be as bright as mine. If you want to go even more subtle than I've gone, feel free to do so. And then we're going to be using this same brush for the next step. So once you've got a nice layer to your water and you've got these subtle gradations and hues throughout your water, you can wash and dry this large brush, and you can never stop smoothing it out and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to paint the tree line reflection on the water, and we're going to do the base coat for the land down below. I'm going to be using my large bristle brush to paint, but I'm going to use my number 2 round to pre-mix another custom color. The colors I'm going to be using in this step are white, brown, black, green, burnt sienna, and yellow. If I use any other colors, I'll let you know, but I think that's it. So the custom color I'm going to premix is dark green, which I have magically premixed it on my palette here. So this is my dark green. How I achieved this is my green oxide with a touch of black and a touch of white. So I'm in essence adding dark gray to my green oxide in order to make it look like it's farther away. This is going to be the base coat for my reflection in the water. So that looks pretty good. Once I have that, I am ready to start painting. So I am going to put a tiny bit of black and my dark green on my brush. And when I say a tiny bit, I'm just going just a little tiny bit on the tip of my brush. Again, I'm using a photo as a reference for myself, but you can certainly put these reflections however you want. They're going to be just towards the top of the canvas. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to do a left to right brush stroke, kind of bringing out little pieces of the tree. You could even use the little tip of your brush as opposed to the whole thing. And if you want smaller marks, you can just put a tiny bit of water on your brush and just kind of use that corner of your brush to allow yourself to make these little tiny left to right type of marks. So I'm gonna again just kind of use my my photo as a reference where I'm putting these, but you can certainly use yours whatever place you want. I'm not going to get mine exactly as the photo is, but it'll definitely be in a similar formation. It's actually kind of all the way across in through here, and then there's a little tree kind of here. There's a bigger one in through here. So again, just I'm going with what I'm kind of seeing in this photo, but you can, like I said, maybe you're even doing something that is representational of a place that you go or that you've been, or you know, you can use your own thoughts and your own creative juices to kind of put these in place where you want them to be. So I'm just kind of popping these in here. There's a couple over in through here, and then there's one that kind of just ends up over on this side and through here. I'm gonna let this dry for a minute. I'll come back and put a couple of other details on it, but I'm gonna let it dry while I go down to the bottom of my canvas to put the rock that this little person is standing on. I'm gonna wash my brush, and the rock I'm gonna be using burnt sienna predominantly, and then I'll use a little bit of black and brown to just add a couple of dark spots to it. So I'm going to start with burnt sienna. I'm going to come up the bottom left hand side of my canvas, maybe about 2.5 inches, and the rock kind of comes in through here and goes up a little bit and then drops down and then peaks over and through here. It looks like our little fisherman has found the perfect landing spot to stand and be kind of above the water a little bit, which is fabulous. And then it just kind of comes right down to this bottom right hand corner. I'm going to use a kind of dabbing or stippling type of brush stroke. I'm not doing long brush strokes, just kind of jabbing it or dabbing it into the canvas. This way I'll have a nice textural effect to build more details on the rock. So once I've got my burnt sienna on here in the shape of the rock, I'm going to pick up a touch of black and give myself a couple of darker areas. So I'm seeing some dark there. There's a little dark area in through here. And again, you don't have to put it exactly everywhere that I'm putting it. I'm just kind of looking through the photo and trying to discern where I'm seeing some darker spots. And I'm trying not to overblend. I think that's another important key to mention. I'm picking up some brown right now just to put a little bit of brown marks in here as well. And this is just the base coat for it. We'll do some more fancy footwork on it as we make our way through the painting process, but that'll start that. So that looks pretty good. I don't really need to do much more to that for now. And then I'm going to start what's going to be the grass or some kind of greenish stuff. Actually, I don't even need to wash my brush. I'm going to just pick up some more black. And this is going to be this whole area behind the rock. I'm going to just kind of touch that rock in through here. I put the rock in first so I would know where it is. And then I could have done I could have drawn it out and done this back part first, but it doesn't matter at this stage because we got so much more work to go. So I'm just going to pull this up just a little bit in through here with that black on my brush. And now I'm going to pick up some green oxide on my dirty brush, and I'm going to pull this up even more. So I have the darkness from the black, and now I'm just adding these additional, a little bit lighter tones as it's going to be up towards the where we're going to actually put some lighter grass later. But I wanted to have these darker tones in here, so when we do add our brighter grass, we've got a solid base underneath it. Also, when we go to add our little person, we'll already have started some nice dark stuff behind the little person. So I'm just going to bring these edges up so they're very carefree and almost grass-like, but not totally grass-like yet. We'll make lots more grass, the illusion of grass in a little bit, but that'll start that. So that looks fine for a starting place for me. I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going back up to my reflection just so I can add a couple of lighter tones into it so it doesn't just look like one solid color. So this is where I'll use a little bit of my burnt sienna, maybe a touch of my yellow. You could even use a tiny touch of white and just itty bitty bit. So just a tiny, tiny bit on my brush, and I can just kind of pop these little light marks here and there into this reflection. So this way I've got these different tones in here, maybe a little bit more burnt sienna, maybe even a little bit more of the green. So I'm just kind of dispersing these colors, one, because I'm seeing them in the photo, but also so it doesn't look flat. So it looks like this is reflecting three-dimensional objects off in the distance. And if you wanted to, you could even add a touch more black if you felt that you wanted to get some little darker notes in through there, something like this. I'm just kind of adding little bits of darkness. You might already be dark enough and you don't feel the need to do that. Or conversely, if you wanted to add a little bit of green, a little bit of the green oxide on top of this, if you wanted a little bit more of that green to be represented. But I'm hardly touching my canvas. I have very little tiny bit of paint on my brush, and that'll allow me to just make it soft and make it look like a nice reflection in the water. And if you felt you needed to bring anything else out, just pop little marks in here and there, or if you wanted to add more to your watercolor, you could certainly do that. And then once you've got this done, we're going to be using our drawing utensil for the next step. So you can put this brush away, take out something to draw with, and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to be drawing an outline for our little fisherman. Cute, adorable fish person. I'm going to be using my number 2 pencil to draw. You can certainly use any drawing utensil that's comfortable to you, and I do recommend that your canvas is dry before you start to draw on it because it's always easier that way. I'm going to guide you through a series of markers. We're going to connect those markers, and by the time we're done, we'll have a very basic, simple outline of a young person that we'll be able to use during our painting process. I might break out my white chalk down in this dark area, but you guys can use a pencil the whole while. You'll be able to see it on your end. So I'm going to guide you to find yourself the center of the canvas, top to bottom, left to right. So I've already marked mine in through here, so I didn't lose where I was. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the left from that about 2 inches, and then up about 1.75 inches, 1 3/4, somewhere in this vicinity is where I'm going to make my first marker. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the left from here about 2 1/4 inches and up about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. So another marker somewhere in this vicinity. Then I'm going to connect these two with a diagonal line. So just slightly diagonal like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 vertical lines that are about 9.5 inches long from here. So you could measure yours out, you could do whatever you want, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come directly below this one, just straight down, straight down, straight down, until I'm just above my rock. So this is probably about 2.5 inches from the, I can measure because I think this is about 2.5. So yeah, about 2.5 inches from the bottom of my canvas. That'll give me another marker. Let me use my white chalk down in this dark region so you guys can see. And then again, I'm going to go to the left of that about 2 1/4 inches, and then up a little bit, just like I did up here. So just up, just maybe however high you went up here from this one, you do the same thing on the bottom. Then I'm going to connect these two with a diagonal line. And now I have my makings for my 2 vertical lines. So I can just take this corner and go straight down like this. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. This is just going to guide us into the shape of the body. So something like this. Switch to my chalk so you guys can see it down in this little corner. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, so we just made a almost rectangle, which I believe this is referred to as a parallelogram. Then what we're going to do is we're going to start the head with a circle. My circle is going to be just above this area, probably by about 1/2 inch, somewhere in through here is where I'm going to start. And then it's going to be about 2.5 inches above that is going to be my top height to my circle. So I want my circle to be a little bit to the left of this, and my circle is about 2.5 inches wide, whereas this is about 2 1/4. So my circle is a little bit wider than this shape here. So if you've chosen to use a different size canvas, then just make this circle a little bit wider than whatever you have the width of here. That'll give it a good proportion for a young person. So I can then just kind of, if you want to, you can find the center of these two marks somewhere in through here, give yourself a little marker, and then you can take I'm just using my brush as a measuring tool from that center mark to here, and then I can go around and make myself a bunch of other marks at about that same distance away from that center mark. And this will give me just a way to make a very basic circular type of shape without having to use any fancy tools to get me there. So something like this will help make me, again, doesn't have to be perfect. This is just going to guide us through the shape making of the head. So something like this that looks circular enough for all I need. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start building off of this. So my fisherman is turned a little bit, so we're going to see the right arm. His hand is in his pocket. We're going to see the right side of the body a little bit more. We're going to see a little bit of the profile of the right side of the face as well. So I'm going to start this left-hand side first because it's kind of a little bit easier. So I'm going to take from here, just give myself a little curved line to meet this corner of this rectangular type of a shape. Then I'm going to come down about a third of the way. So a third of the way of this shape. So if this is about halfway, and this is about, maybe it's almost a quarter of the way. So if this is about a quarter of the way, I'm a little bit further down than that. So about a third of the way down, I'm going to give myself a little mark in through here. I'm going to bring it up just a tiny bit like this, and then I'm going to scoop it out for the elbow. So this is going to be the elbow of the other side. And then I can just take from here, round this shoulder just a little bit, and then bring it into my little elbow like that. There's going to be, he's got two legs, and the cuffs of his pants are down right near this end in through here. So I'm going to just kind of give you a marker maybe about a third of the way over this line like this. This is going to be the left leg. I'm going to make myself just a little cuff for the bottom of my pants like that. And now I can finish the profile on this left-hand side. So this is just the side of he's wearing these cute jean overalls. So I'm going to take from here, I'm going to just give myself this kind of wavy type of line. Again, I'm using the photo reference as my kind of inspiration here, but you could certainly make this into, I think I need this little cuff out a little bit further. You can make this, into whatever type of clothing you want. The proportions are of a little child, so you could make it wear a dress and put a ponytail on and make it into, customize it whatever way that you want. So that's the left side. The right side, we'll do the face in a minute, but I want to hit the right hand side. I'm going to start a little bit disconnected from this bottom of the circle, somewhere right in through here, and I'm going to bring this down kind of almost in a diagonal line like that. Just stop it just before this mark, this little line right in through it, stop it right there, and then this is going to curve out to the shoulder like this. So I'm going to bring this one down, the elbow is floating in the back, so I'm going to kind of guide you into making that elbow at a similar, well, it's actually a little bit lower than this one, because this one is kind of out and forward, and then this one is kind of back. So this elbow is going to end up somewhere in this vicinity, and it's much closer to the viewer, so it looks a little bit larger. So once I know where that is, I can take from up in this corner here, and this is going to be his arm, the back side of his arm, going like this, and then it's going to go into his pocket. His pocket is going to be somewhere in this vicinity. So this is about a little bit lower than halfway down down that shape. There's a little kind of hand, and then the wrist kind of comes in like that. So that's going to be that side. The pocket hangs over this edge of this shape a little bit. I'm going to put the other side of the hand on right in through here, going right towards this line. You can even cross over it a little bit. And then the outside edge of the arm, I'm going to take it from here, and I'm going to bring it and cross it over my, my rectangular shape just a little bit. Right before this elbow is where I'm gonna just kind of start bending it back into that forearm. So this is gonna be the forearm in there, like that. And if you need to or want to, you can erase this rectangular guideline as you go, or not, whatever. So once I've got this shape in through here, I can erase that little mark on the hand. He's got overalls on, so the overalls themselves, he's not wearing a shirt underneath the overalls, so they're going to come, we're going to see part of his kind of belly skin, if you will. So something like this is where the front part of the overall is, and then it comes up in through here, and we're going to have a little sliver of that overall. So this will be skin, this little area in through here, and then this rest of the area that I'm going to come sliding down over here is going to be the jeans, the overalls. And he's kind of leaning forward just a little bit. Well, not really, but his legs are kind of tipped back a little bit, I guess. So that brings that down to there, and then I just need the cuff of the pants. I'm going to bring this up a little bit from that horizontal line, just to give it a little bit more width on here, something like that. And then I might as well make the feet while I'm down here. So I'm going to make this right foot first. So the skin of the kind of calf is really coming right out of the pant leg in through there. And then it kind of comes down in this vicinity for the ankle. And then the foot, it looks like the foot is kind of flat-footed going up the rock a little bit. So I'm going to just kind of give myself this basic shape that we'll be able to modify during the painting process, but I just kind of want to get it on here so I know where that foot is going to go. And then the other foot starts up the heel of this one a little bit, so somewhere in through here, and then it just kind of curves like this and then meets the calf in the jean short, the pants right here. I think that looks about good. So this is not any farther than, doesn't stick out any farther than that cuff of the pant. I think this cuff of the pant, we might modify that as we paint. And there might even be another little toe sticking out here, but we can paint that later. So that's good for his body. Again, if you need to erase that rectangular type of shape, you certainly can. That might for visual purposes, might make it a little bit easier for you to see. I do need to separate also the jean overalls have kind of like a V section in the back. So I'm gonna pop up the little suspender part in through here, and then just give myself a V in the back in through here, like this. And then I've got this part over here actually covers this shoulder and comes into this little part right in through here. So now I've got his skin sections, the neck, the arms, and this little sliver, and then the rest is jeans, and then the feet are going to be skin. So now we need to put the face or the head on. So the head is going to be larger than this circle, but the circle will hit the back part of the head and where the eye socket is. So I'm going to go above my circle by maybe about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. That's going to be the top of the head. I can take from there and I'm going to blend it or draw a line to get it to meet here. So I'm going to kind of go up just a little bit. I'm going to bump this out. This is kind of the crown of the head, and then just bring it back into that marker in through there. The face, the little cheek is going to come down here, so the cheek is out farther than this circle. The eye socket is going to end up right at this halfway point right here. So from here, I can just take it from that eye socket and just pop out a little cute young person cheek in through there. And then from here, I can just put a little eyebrow bone area, come up, and then just give myself a soft curve to meet in through here. So the front part of the head is kind of a little bit lower than that crown part on this particular young person. Yours could be a little bit different. And then I just want to mark where my fishing pole is going to be. So again, I am just mimicking what I'm seeing in this photo, and here it's a little bamboo type of rod, and it goes right behind his face and through here. And thankfully it's a bamboo rod, so it has different widths to the rod part of it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think that's all I'm going to be doing for my drawing. Oh, maybe just put the little bobber part on. Maybe I think that's going to go somewhere in through here. The little bobber for his fishing pole. There we go. And then if you want to make any little fiddling corrections or modifications, you certainly can. We're going to be using the number 6 round brush for the next step. You could even erase this big circle here if you wanted to or needed to, just so you have that visual as to if you've got a good shape on it or not. Don't worry about erasing it all the way. We're going to be painting over it so that any marks you can hide during painting process. And then you can put this drawing utensil away, take out something to paint with, and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to paint the base coat of our little fisherman. I'm going to be using my number 6 round brush. The colors I'm going to use are green, yellow, burnt sienna, brown, white, black, and blue. That's, I think, all the colors I'm using. Oh, and red. I am using all of my colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a custom skin color that I'm going to be using for his skin as well as his head, because he's got some blonde hair with a lot of skin tones in it. So I'm going to do that for that. I'm going to make a blue jean blue, and then I will be using my green oxide for the base coat of my fishing pole, and I'll use red and white for the base coat of my bobber. So I'm going to make my skin tone. I'm pre-mixing a custom skin tone, which I have already magically done on my palette here, so you can see where I'm headed. How I achieved this is a lot of burnt sienna, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of brown, and a little bit of white. So it's mostly burnt sienna, but I wanted to make sure that it was more of a muted type of a tone, and one that will be able to put some nice sun-kissed glow onto, because this little person looks like he likes to be in the sun. So I've got that color in through there. Oh, and I'm going to make my blue jean blue too. Let me show you how to make that. I'm going to wash my mixing tool. So I have my blue jean blue right here next to my cobalt blue. How I achieved this is I used cobalt blue with a touch of black and a touch of white. So I'm just in essence kind of desaturating my cobalt blue a little bit with gray. The black and the white is gray. And then that will give me a nice good start to my blue jeans. And of course you can make yours into whatever kind of color that you'd like. So that looks good. I'm gonna wash my mixing tool, and I am going to first put on my base coat for my fishing rod. So I'm just using green oxide for that, because in the photo it looks like this is a fun bamboo type of fishing rod. So it's got some green hues in it. So I am rolling with that, and I'm going to just allow myself to put some greenish hue in it. It's going right next to the face. It looks like there's a little tiny sliver of it that I can see on the opposing side of the face. I could certainly be using my smaller brush for this fishing rod, but I guess I'm just gonna go for it with this larger brush, which is fine, you know. Sometimes I do those things, so that looks pretty good. Once I've got that, I'm washing and drying my brush, and I'm gonna go in for that bobber. The bottom half of it is red and the top half is white. So I'm just going to put a coat of red on this bottom half, bringing it right to my pencil. I should totally be using my smaller brush. It's okay, I'll use my smaller brush to put the details on. But we're going to just going to roll with it. washing my brush, gonna pick up some white paint and put a little white paint on the upper half of my bobber. Something like that. And then what I can do is I'm gonna wash my brush and I'm gonna pick up my skin tone. So my skin tone is gonna be down at my feet. He's got his little toe is sticking out. It's so cute. I love looking at the little posture of feet, and I actually many moons ago did a series of feet paintings because I feel that they're so expressive. So I get a kick out of just kind of looking at the way people's toes are, because what the position of the toe, I don't know why. I think that it kind of tells a story. I don't know. I'm now seeing in the photo that there's a little space between between these two legs so that I can see some of the grass behind it. So I'm going to pull this little leg in just a little bit like that, and then bring it right up to the jeans. Something like that. I think that's good. It'll be hidden by grass too. So something like that works. There's a little kind of toe over here I see, I think. And then in through here, this kind of, yeah, so that whole chalk mark I will get rid of. And then this goes in through here. And this color is going to look a little bit darker down here, which is good because it is in the photo as well. But it's looking darker because it's going to look darker than what's going to look like up top because there's a darker background to it. So that benefits me because the foot is going to be darker down here anyways. So that's a good thing. It goes up a little bit there too. So I'm still in my skin tone. I'm going to leave a little evidence of my chalk mark visible where this arm meets the side of the chest in through here, so that way I have I know where I want that separation to go. I did use pencil, which will typically, for me, because I use a student grade paint, I can usually see the evidence of that pencil through my paint. But you can't, if you're using chalk or something that disappears when you add paint to it, then you may not, you may want to be just conscious about where you leave your, leaving a little bit of that outline so you know where it is. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this little arm over here and just bringing it right to my pencil mark in through here. And again, if you wanted to switch brushes to the smaller brush, that's totally fine in those littler areas. And then just going to bring this down in through here. And of course you can make this whatever skin tone that you want. If you have a fairer skinned person that you want to represent, maybe add a little bit more of a pinkish hue to it. If it's a more suntan look, you're going to want to use, the rusty, yellowy, golden kind of colors to represent that. So you can certainly steer this into whatever way that you want. This little person has blonde hair that's really being sun-drenched, so there's lots of golden tones within the hair too, so I figured it would benefit me to just use the same skin tone as my base for my hair, and that will work out just fine for me. And once I've got the face done, I'm going to be pretty careful around my front edge in through here so I don't lose that exterior shape that I wanted. Once I've got this head done, I will wash my brush once again. Looks pretty good. Wash my brush, and then I'm gonna go put my blue jeans on. So these are super cute. I can't wait to get all the details on there. So I'm gonna just go in for my blue jean blue, and we'll put all of our fun details on it later. But just kind of getting this on here. It's I'm making mine a little vibrant to start, and then I'll just add the weathered kind of appearance to it as I add my details to it later. And of course, make yours whimsical. This doesn't have to be exactly like the photograph. It doesn't have to take on the same exact tones. Again, it can be very painterly. It can be very whimsical. Whatever you want to do for this is up to you. This is just intended to be a really fun painting that maybe you learn a little bit about the proportions of a young person. So hopefully that is something, a good takeaway from this. And then just, having fun with expressing, these fun summer moments. These are the ones that I know for me, I love kind of reminiscing about all the fun things that you get to do during nice weather. I mean, there's lots of fun things to do during non-nice weather too, but I am definitely an outdoorsy person, and going fishing is one of those things that brings peace and harmony, I think, to a lot of people. So, and it's a fun time with kids and family, so it brings a lot of joy to me. So, moral to my story is paint it whatever way you want. It doesn't have to have this blue jean overall on it. If you want yours to be really carefree, and maybe this little person is wearing something with polka dots or a big beach hat or anything, just customize it. Because of the nature of the shape of this little person, you could really customize it into being a different gender, a different hairstyle, different clothing. It's just a matter of getting the proportions to represent a smaller or a younger person. That's, I think, the key to this. And then once you've got that down, it's very easy to customize it into something, something personal to you. And then once you've got this done, we are going to be using, I feel like I kind of want to do that watery thing. So I'm going to use this same brush for the next, maybe my number 2 and my number 6 round brush for the next step. So you can just get ready. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is finish the fishing pole and the little ripple in the water. I'm going to be using probably both my number 6 and my number 2 round. The colors I'm using are dark green, yellow, white, red, gray, beige, and some of that light blue and my mauve. That should do it. If I use any other colors, I'll let you know. So what I'm going to do is, in the picture, the ripple from the line is a little bit below here and to the right. So I'm going to start with my number 6 round with a little bit of my gray paint on my brush and a little bit of water. So this is very subtle in the picture. So I just want to make sure that I maintain that subtlety. So just this, it looks like this round little spot in through here, and I want it to blend out with the neighboring water. So I just keep adding water to my brush, and this will get it to blend out a little bit. I'm going to put a tiny little centery part in through here. There's a couple little ripples coming out over here. So nothing major. It's really super duper subtle, but this is where I could also add the beige and the other colors from my water. So I can pick up a tiny bit of my beige color. I might switch to my small brush because I am finding that this might be a little bit too, yeah, this is too big for me here. Switching to my beige color. It's such a small area with such little detail that I wanted the big brush for the larger size for blending purposes, but it was just too big for that area. So I'm just using a little bit of water on my brush with that beige, and now I'm going to pick up maybe a little bit of my my mauve color, because all these colors are represented down here, so I might as well just get them as part of that ripple as well. And just kind of smoothing it out with a little extra water on my brush. And if you hit your rock like I just did, don't worry about it. I'm picking up a little bit of my light blue now, just to get this to really just look like it's softening out into that water, and just allowing myself to, you know, enjoy the process. A little bit more of my light blue. I'm digging the way that this is coming out, so we're just gonna roll with it at this point. A little bit of that light blue, just add these little glazes on top. You could even go into the burnt sienna. Didn't say I was going to use that, but you could. I did use a little bit of burnt sienna initially in that water down here, so you could use a touch of that as an additional little glaze on top of the water as well, just to add those deeper tones down in through here, or even into that little ripple itself. But again, I'm not seeing a whole lot of detail on this little ripple, so that's about all I'm going to do in through that. So I'm going to wash my brush, and I'm going to go hit the rod. So I'm going to go with dark green to start. So dark green with a little bit of water on my brush to allow me to have a nice fluid mark. This is going to be the shadowy side. There's a little shadow side, so I'm using my dark green to enhance this shadow side, just bringing it down this right hand side, and it'll get a little bit darker as it dries too. And if you go outside your line like I just did, don't worry about it, just roll with it. So dark green on this right hand side, and then I'm going to wash my brush, and I'm going to create a light green color. So you can use your dark green and add chrome yellow and a little bit of white to it, and this will make a very vibrant light green color. And because we had our dark green was kind of neutralized a little bit, this will also help to neutralize this color, and it'll be fabulous as a highlight color on our rod. So just making mine a little bit lighter here. So this is, we'll call this light green, and I'm going to go down this left hand side with this, and I might add a little bit more. Once I see what it looks like, I think I'm going to add a little bit more white to it. I feel like it's not light enough, so just added a little bit more light to it. So almost like a really faint or bright light lime green. So there we go, that works. I need it to be nice and evident on top of that background. So on top of that water, the colors that we had in the water, just making sure I can see it. And again, I'm trying not to make it a super straight line, so this way it will read as bamboo-esque, going right by that face, being ever so cautious around that face. There we go. And then while this is drying, because I'm going to put some little bamboo marks on it in a minute, while that's drying, I'm going to go and do the string and this little bobber thing. So I'm going to wash my brush, put in a little bit of red on my brush to get the little top part of the bobber in through here. I'm going to pick up a little bit of red. I need this bottom side to go a little bit darker, so I might actually just put a little water on my brush first so I can get this as smooth as I want. I think I'm going to pick up a tiny bit of black, which I'm not sure if I said I was going to use, so it just picked up a little bit of black for this bottom side of the bobber, so I can get a little bit of dimension down in through here, and that'll give me a little shadow on this bottom side. You could do that on this little bobbery part too. And then I'm going to wash my brush and pick up some white just to give myself a second coat on this white part. And you could, and of course, just make sure all my pencil is hidden. You could, of course, add additional dimension to this. You could take white plus a tiny bit of red and just add a little highlight on this part of the bobber, but I'm not seeing a ton of that appearance in the photo, so I'm just gonna not go too full on with that. I'm going to wash my brush, and I'm going to pick up some of my gray with some water on my brush. So what this is going to do, I'm doing the fishing line, and this fishing line is being pulled by the wind, which I think is kind of cool. So it's curved, and then the little trail thing has some water drops on it. So it comes kind of out in through here, disconnects in through here. So what's great about this is it doesn't have to be super duper straight, and it also looks like it's kind of catching some of the colors from the atmosphere. So I'm just being cautious to not push too hard on my canvas, and how I do that is I've got my hand braced against my canvas, so somewhere in through here, and it comes right to the tip and through here. And even in the picture, it's kind of like wobbly a little bit, which is fabulous. Makes for an easier painting. And I also see some other colors in it, so you could pick up a little bit of red to, I don't know, it must be wet and reflecting some other colors, so you could certainly dabble in hues of other additional colors. Looks like there's a little tiny bit of red down in through here. And then it looks like the fishing line that goes into the water, I can't really see in the picture. So I'm gonna, but it looks like there's some water droplets. So I'm gonna pick up a little bit of white, and it looks like it's kind of like I see some white stuff in through here, and then some little droplets like this. So I don't know, I'm not quite sure what that is. It must be just the water as it went in. I don't know. I'm just gonna paint what I see, so that's what I see, so that's what I'm painting. I'm gonna go back up to the fishing pole itself. There's a little dark reddish thing on the top part of it, so I'm gonna pick up some red, and it looks like a little ball thing at the top. So a little bit of red. I'm gonna pick up a tiny bit of black too, because it looks like there's a little kind of shadowy thing or something like that. I'm washing my brush. I'm going to pick up some of that light yellow-ish green color that we created, because there's these bamboo sections, the little breaking points on the bamboo. So I'm going to make these light areas. Let's see, there's one there, there's one right above the face. They're just these little curved marks. There's one somewhere in the middle here, and they curve right around that fishing pole, and then there's one more right back here. So once I've got those, I can just add little highlights and shadows to them. I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to pick up a tiny bit of you could go gray, I think, maybe that gray color, or maybe gray plus a little bit of black. It doesn't look like they're totally black for the shadows, so I'm going gray plus a little bit of black to just add these little shadowy marks on the right side of these guys in through here. So at the underneath the little mark, and on the right side is just a little bit darker. And then wash my brush, and I'm going to do a little highlight with white. You might feel that you can get away with a brighter highlight, or a duller highlight with maybe white with your light green or something like that, but I'm just popping these bright marks on here because that's why I see them. And then you can certainly make any little adjustments that you feel would benefit you. We're going to use probably the number 6 round for the next step, so you can just wash it and dry it and get ready. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to finish the rock. I am using my number 6 round brush. The colors I'm going to use are black, brown, yellow, burnt sienna, and that's probably going to be it. Because this rock that's in this photo has a lot of rusty tones to it. So that's what I'm going for. I'm going to start with my darker areas and just work my way to the light. Most of it is pretty dark. There's just a little bit to me for lightness up on this right hand side, and maybe this little platform where the young person has found to stand. There's a little light back here too, but I'm going to start with my dark and just work my way to the light. I'm starting with a little bit of black on my brush. Dirty black is fine. I just had a little bit of blue in there. That's fine. So dirty black on my brush. I'm really just kind of going over the rock and saying, okay, well, I see a dark spot there. I see a little dark spot in through here. It doesn't have to have every single piece of characteristic that the specific rock in the photo has, but if you want it to resemble that specific rock, then yeah, adding the characteristics that you're seeing would make it make sense. It would make it look like that type of rock from that area. If you're looking to have it look like it's from a specific area, just creating the characteristics. There's a little shadow underneath the foot, so I'm just going to kind of pop that on while I'm here. And if I skew the shape of the foot a little bit, I can certainly correct that when I go to paint the foot. There's a shadow underneath this one. There's a couple of leaves and foliage that are also in my way in the photo of this foot, so I will modify that later. There's a couple of little dark marks here. So I did catch most of the dark marks on the initial pass that I had, but now I'm just kind of enhancing them. I'm just making really carefree marks. There's a bunch of dark stuff over here because there's going to be some foliage that pops out from over here. So I'm just seeing darkness. So I'm just making these dark kind of marks in through there. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to start moving my way towards the light stuff. You can wash your brush or just give it a good squeeze on your paper towel. I'm going to be picking up some brown and burnt sienna. And this, again, this rock is pretty, has a lot of these rusty tones in it. So I don't need to go too, I feel like there's too much black on my brush. I'm washing my brush. I don't want to go too dark. So washing my brush, and I'm going to pick up, I feel like I could just pick up some burnt sienna right now. So I'm just picking up some burnt sienna, going on top of these areas that I already have established. We got kind of a smooth little edge in through here. Lots of burnt sienna back in through here. Picking up a little brown right now. But this rock, it has tons of rusty tones to it. So that is really what I'm trying to just capture in through here. And it's very textured looking. So as I'm going through this, that's why I'm just kind of dotting. There's not a lot of flat platform, soft rock area on it, or shiny smooth. It looks really, really textured. So that's where I'm headed. I just am following the texture that I'm seeing. It's almost like a sandstone type of look with all this texture to it. I'm picking up more burnt sienna, and in a second, once I've got the majority of these tones in here and a nice solid second coat to it, I will start adding those brighter little pops of tones in through here. It looks like there's going to be just a little extra highlight part in through here for it to account for. It looks like there's a little dip in the rock, so something like this. And again, I'm just kind of following this color pattern that I'm seeing in the rock, which allows me to, one, capture the texture, because if I just follow the color pattern, it'll steer me into a textural look to it. That looks pretty good. So now I'm going to wash my brush, and I want to add some lighter tones. So this is where I could use my burnt sienna, yellow, and white, and any combination thereof. I might even just kind of pre-mix a little bit on my palette, or kind of mush it together a little bit on my palette, so that way I have a couple of different lighter tones in through here. I might also end up using a little bit of red to get more orangey tones. The burnt sienna is going to give me some good orange tones, but I might end up using a little bit of red too, especially over here on this right hand side. It looks like there might be some red stone or a little bit additional red tones in through there. So again, just kind of looking and kind of popping in these light colors where I'm seeing them. As I come back towards this left hand side, I'm seeing light stuff, but it's more kind of I'm going into the red a little bit. I feel like there's almost like these I'm going red, burnt sienna, and white. There's this lighter tone in through here. Yeah, that looks good. Red, burnt sienna, and white is giving me this additional highlighted parts in through here. Not a lot, just a little bit, again, to just kind of capture what these tones I'm seeing in the picture. That looks pretty good. That lightened up that a bit, enough to make me happy. Putting just a touch lighter tone in through here. A little bit more burnt sienna. So now I feel as though I want to pick up more red. I'm digging what it did over here, so now I'm kind of into it. So red it is. We're gonna just kind of add a little bits of red here and there, just to, again, because I'm seeing it in the picture. You know, when I initially looked at it, I wasn't really clear that that's what I was seeing until I started adding those burnt sienna tones and realizing, oh, the burnt sienna isn't going to pull it red enough to what I'm seeing in the picture. So that's where that decision was needed. And if you wanted more orange, you could go red and a little bit of yellow, and that'll give you a little bit more of an orange tone. And I'm thinking that I don't really need to do much more than this. I'm going to go pick up a little bit of brown and black. I feel like there might be a little bit more darkness to be had in through here. But as far as it looking like a rock, I think I've accomplished that. I think I've got it pretty representational to what I'm seeing in the picture as far as the bright spots and the dark spots, maybe a little bit more burnt sienna on this guy in through here. But I think that's all I'm going to be doing for my rock. The next step, I will be using my, probably my number 2 and maybe my number 6 round, but definitely my number 2. So you can just wash them and get ready. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to paint the blue jean overalls. I'm going to be, excuse me, using both my number 6 and my number 2 rounds. The colors I'm going to use are my blue jean blue, black, white, and maybe some of that light blue color that we made for the water. That might work out well as a nice highlight color. And if I use any other colors, I'll let you know. So I did notice though, after I put these little cuffs on, that when I'm looking at the photo, I feel like they should be lower. So I'm going to start with my number 6 round and I'm going to drop them a little bit lower. The reason why I feel that this is important is because I don't want these ankles to steal the show. So I'm going to drop that leg or that pant line a little bit. So I'm starting with my blue jean blue, and I'm just going to bring this down just a little bit further down the leg. I'll show you, I'm going to, when we do the green stuff behind, we can take care of that little piece, or actually we can just maneuver that into the pant leg. Not a big deal. I just I thought it was going to be, I didn't like how there was so much ankle showing, and then when I was looking at the photo, I'm like, oh, that's why, because I put the cuffs up a little bit too high. So then I'm going to do the same thing over on this side, just kind of dropping it down just a little bit, and then this one will just sneak behind that one. So we're just going to get rid of that. Perfect. That makes me happier. So something like that. And again, it's just because I didn't want to see so much ankles. So these two can match in through there. There we go. Excellent. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some black on my dirty brush, and I'm going to get the kind of the shadowy area between these two legs. So again, the kid is turned a little bit, so the center of the legs where I'm going to see the shadow is not directly between them equally. It's going to be off to the left. So consider the little butt area to be where the pockets are going to be in through here, and the darkest little crease is going to be, if this is kind of the bottom of my pocket, I'm going to be a little bit up from that, somewhere in through here. If this is, I've got the other bottom of my pocket somewhere in through here. So this will be kind of the center between the legs. So I'm going to just kind of tap this down, something like this, give myself a nice dark area, and then the left leg is going to be more shadowed than the right leg. So I'm just going to kind of bring this down. I know I'm going through wet blue right now. I'm going to bring this shadow down, leave the cuff open a little bit, maybe shadow right there. And then I'm going to just kind of get it to blend out into this left-hand side of the pant and through here. So just going to use my brush to just kind of blend it out over here on this left-hand side. So if you, I'm getting mine to look just weathered and wrinkled and stuff like that. You can certainly, if you want it to be smoother, you can pick up a little bit of your blue jean blue and just get them to intermingle a little bit. This is where I'm going to get rid of some of my chalk line too. And again, you don't need to get every crease and crevice. I'm really just going for a fun, let's see the difference between the pants. We're going to have some cute pockets on there. And then if I can get some wrinkles in there, great. Like I'm pulling some of this, maybe a little bit of the darkness over onto this pant leg where maybe it just kind of creases in a little bit. So the darker spots are going to make the pants look like they're kind of creased in. I definitely want, again, that darkness in between the pant legs. And then I've got a little bit of darkness right in through here above that cuff line. The cuffs are going to be super light, and I'm using this larger brush to start just so I can kind of get in motion these bigger areas and kind of get them to blend a little bit. Down in the crook of the back too, you can put a little bit of darkness. So I've got a little bit of black plus the blue jean blue on my brush, so I'm making it just a little bit darker down this crook of the back, maybe right underneath the arm as well. It's okay if you bump into the skin because we're not done the skin yet. So something like that, that'll give you the appearance of that back just kind of leaning back a little bit. So something like that. That looks cute. I can even do a little bit, I'm putting just a touch of water on my brush with my black and my dark blue. Give maybe a little crease over by where the pocket is, where the little hand is kind of pulling the pants or the fabric down a little bit, something like this. I might switch brushes in a second here. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm going to switch brushes because I feel like the rest I'm going to need my smaller brush for. So we're going to find that under my palette. So now that I've got just those darker areas accomplished, I'm going to just build my way to the light and add little bits of information. I think I want to kind of understand where my pockets and where my light spots are going to go right now. So I'm going into that light blue that we created for the water. Because in this picture, these overalls have, looks like light colored suspenders. So I kind of want to capture that with a little bit of this light blue. So they come right down into kind of this region, and then they're almost like kind of a washed out type of a blue. So I'm just using this light blue color is fabulous for this. Just using this light blue color to just kind of capture those little those light areas. And this is also going to help tell me where I need to put my extra highlights that I'll be doing for contours and the light source and stuff. This whole front area of the jeans in through here, it looks like it's got a whole bunch of lightness to it. So I am, and it's going to have a little shadow where it meets the body too. So just kind of going in. And I think another thing with kind of trying to get a little realistic approach is just on fabric is just not to make it super straight and super clean looking. I think to have the movement in that fabric makes it look a little bit more realistic. There's a lot of lightness at the top of these pockets, or at least I kind of want to know where the pocket is, so I'm going to outline the top of the pockets. I got one over in through here. This pocket looks this left pocket looks a little higher than the right one, and I have a feeling that's because the hand is pulling the pants down as he's anxiously awaiting his catch of the day. So I think that is, again, something super cute that you might not notice until you go start and really watching the nuances of the picture. There's a cute pocket way down here too, so I'd like to capture that. So it's kind of down in through here. And again, have fun with this. Don't, no need to make it exactly as the photo. I'm definitely being free with my colors. My colors are not matching the photo 100%. I just wanted to get the story told on this one. So, and there's little kind of cute seams and stuff, so I just want to kind of understand where this little pocket, I'm picking up some more of my blue jean blue with my light blue just to kind of get the idea. There's a couple of little fun seams and stuff, so I kind of, oh, there's a seam on the pocket which tells that the hand is in there, so like that'll tell that the hand is in there. The cuffs are really light. It looks like it's the underside of the jean material, so they seem to be much lighter in color. They match the straps up top, so that's good. That'll get that going. In through here, it's got that same light color, but it's not solid. It looks like it's, it's jean material, so it's got light spots and dark spots to make it look like it's more of a jean material. There's a little seam up the back, so I'm going light blue, my jean blue, and a little bit of water on my brush just to understand where these are. There's this guy in through here. This is just kind of like a decorative seam. Okay, so this goes kind of down and buckles where the butt part is here. So we're gonna bring this down kind of like this, nice and sketchily, and then just kind of buckle it where that butt is. It's so cute. Like this, and then just kind of bump it out in through there. Okay, so I've got my light spots and all the idea of where I want all of that light and dark stuff to go. Now I'm just going to kind of finesse it. Maybe I make a dark blue color. I'll use black with cobalt blue just to make myself a dark blue that's darker than my jean blue, and this will allow me to get those little seams and all of that good stuff kind of with a little bit more detail. So I've got my dark blue on my brush, and I can kind of come down here. Maybe there's a little shadow in through here. There's a little bit on this back. Nothing fancy. I'm just seeing these little kind of dimples and stuff in the jean material. So this is a way that you can just kind of capture. There's lots of little dark stuff in through here. This is a way that you can just capture that jean material by using these different tones. So I've got my dark jean color right now, or my dark blue, and I can sit here and just say, okay, well, I've got lots of little wrinkles back in through here, kind of crossing over into this jean material in through here. I'm not gonna, oh, I've got it in the water too. When did that happen? You guys should have told me when that happened. Hold on, let's see if I can correct how, I don't know how long that's been there. Ooh, not long, thank you. You guys are supposed to yell at me when I get that paint on there. Wait, you just got paint all over the water. Anyways, so my hand was probably dirty. But these different tones, now that I'm into this darker blue tone, this is going to help me just establish a little bit more of that jean texture. There's a little cute wrinkle somewhere in through here. And again, I'm not going for it to be a photorealistic rendition on this particular one, but if you can get some of those little nuances, now I'm afraid of my wet hand, in order to get it to look a little bit more dimensional, that's awesome. There's some dark stuff up and through here, dark stuff here, dark stuff here. I'm probably going to go into my black again too, because I'm seeing that there's some really dark stuff in certain areas. So that looks pretty good. I'm going now with my light blue on my brush and my dark blue. So light blue and dark blue to give myself these little jean texture in through here. So just multiple shades of blue is what I'm going for. That's going to give me this fun multi-textural type of element in through here. So I'm just seeing these lighter spots. This one's got a nice light spot in through here, and then I will give myself a final kind of pass with all the maybe darker little creases and stuff. So a little stuff in through here. There's a seam there. This I'll get rid of when I go to my background grass. But right now I'm picking up my dark jean and my light blue color, because those two are, I'm digging what they're doing on the canvas. So you can just kind of keep fiddling with those different tones. I'm going light blue again. Give myself a little bright spot in through there. So I'm going to now wash my brush, I think. If I can just give myself a little more texture in through here. I'm gonna I'm going dark blue. Hold on, dark blue to give myself some little kind of dots around these edges. This is going to give me that little jean look. There we go. There's so much to them now that I'm looking at them. So I'm washing my brush, and I'm going to go light blue plus white to give myself a couple of really bright areas. Light blue plus white, which I think I said I was using white. I'm pretty sure I did. Light blue and white. And this is going to give me my bright stuff right up at the shoulders. A lot of bright color up and through here. So just going to allow myself that, make sure I have that contrast in there. And I wouldn't typically do the clothing before the skin, but the arm is really taking up a lot of real estate on top of the clothing. So I think that's why I made that decision the way I made it. I'm still in my light blue plus a little bit of white to give myself maybe a little bit more white than that. Give myself just this bright edge along here, bright little pocket edge in through there, bright little pocket edge. He's got a little tag back here, a little more bright in here, and you can see right now I'm just kind of having fun with the little light marks. I'm going to do the same thing with dark marks. So this right now, the stage that I'm in right now is just kind of decorating my my jeans with the light areas. There's little seams and little there's a tag. I'm washing my brush and I'm picking up some black paint right now with a little bit of water. So black with a little bit of water, and I see that there's this little guy's got a little seam there. And then I feel like I need to go a little bit darker over here on this side of the body. So I'm just going to use a little bit of the black on my brush to just kind of deepen these tones just a little bit over and through here underneath this guy. I can use, again, this black to make any fun little marks that I want up these edges where they've got this fun kind of almost like a polka dotted seaming. But again, you can tell as fast as I'm going, I'm not making this photorealistic. I'm just looking to give the essence of what I'm seeing in the photo and allowing myself the liberty to have fun whilst doing this. Because sometimes when you're trying to do these little itty bitty details, oh my gosh, it can really get overwhelming. So find a happy place for yourself where you can say, all right, I want to capture some of these details, but I don't necessarily want to beat myself up over having every single little dot and every single little seam in the right place, or in capturing the exact that same exact seam. You don't necessarily need that, but it's a matter of finding the balance and finding the happy place for yourself, not beating yourself up over not getting every single little dot and mark exactly as it should, exactly as it is in the photo. That's one of the toughest things about doing photo renditions, is knowing how much detail to keep and how much to leave. So that's going to be a personal personal decision on your part as to where you need to take it to be happy with it. And then once you've got it to a place that you are happy with, we are going to be using this same brush for the next step. So you can just wash it and dry it. Man, those jeans are cute. Wash it and dry it and get ready for the next step. All right, so what we're gonna do for the next step is we're gonna finish the skin. I am using my number 2 round brush. The colors I'm using are my skin tone, brown, burnt sienna, red, yellow, and white. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a light skin tone, and then we will just add shadows and highlights to give this little person some dimension on its skin. So I have my light skin tone here on my palette. How I achieved that is a little bit of burnt sienna, a little bit of red, a touch of yellow, and some white. So I'm making this a little bit pinker than the original skin tone. It's pinker and lighter. So something like that. I think I need a little bit more burnt sienna and a little bit more yellow. There we go. So this is just going to give me a nice lighter skin tone that I'll be able to use in the highlight areas. We'll use it in conjunction with white to get some light areas happening. So once I've got that all ready, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start dark to light. So I'm going to be putting some dark shadowy areas. The legs are going to be on the darker side. There's going to be some shadow at the wrist. There'll be some shadow in through this belly area, under this arm, under the face, behind the ear, and then we'll get and some shadows kind of going in behind the clothing too. So I'm going to start with a touch of brown paint on my brush. So this is going to just give me some really dark areas where the skin is just going to be meeting those other areas that would be shadowing it. So just a little bit of brown paint is on my brush right now, kind of just giving myself these areas that are going to put some dimension into that skin as it is coming out from behind certain things like the clothing. And I'm just putting a little line on there and then just allowing it to kind of blend out a little bit into that main skin color. So on this guy in through here, I'm putting a lot of brown down on that bottom side and in this little area where it's meeting the clothing in through here, and just blending it into that main skin tone. And again, I will use additional colors to get it to blend with the skin tone a little bit better, but this is just kind of getting me started. There's a little crease on his neck somewhere kind of in through here. I'm just going to put just a little skinny line in through there. There's a shadow on the bottom side of his chin in through here. So just putting a little bit of darkness in through there. There's also a shadow behind the ear. So the ear kind of comes right in through here. So I'm going to just put a little shadow like this and then just kind of fade it out to that left. We're going to have all the hair on there too, but there's also a little shadow at the back side of this neck. So just a little bit of brown and just kind of fade it out. And then I have another little shadow right in this, right in here. So just putting that little bits of shadow and right in through here. So these little shadows are going to allow, oh, there's one little in this crevice here too, but that's okay. Yeah, there we go. Those little shadows are going to give it some nice dimension. So now that that's on, I'm going to wipe my brush off. I'm going to pick up some burnt sienna. So the burnt sienna, oh, I need to put some little bit of shadow on that left foot too. The burnt sienna I'm going to use as kind of a connector color to the lighter skin. So this is burnt sienna. Just going from the dark to the light. The legs are definitely a little bit darker than some of the other skin. I'm picking up a little bit of brown because this foot right here has to be darker in through here. So I have brown plus burnt sienna on my brush right now. And there's a little dark area right here for that ankle bony part, something like that. Little dark spots in between the toes. So I'm going with my burnt sienna and brown just to give myself a couple little marks in between those toes. I'm not sure I'm seeing all the toes, but they're there, I'm sure. And then those are light toes. That looks good. Maybe a little bit darker right in through here. This whole leg seems pretty shadowed by the jeans and stuff. Back side of the foot has some darkness on it. So that probably means this one does too, but this one's hidden underneath some of the... I'm picking up some of the regular skin tone right now to just blend these feet while I'm here. So this is just the regular skin tone on my dirty brush just to kind of blend into those dark areas that I just did. And so I have a nice second coat on here. Especially in this area, because this is still going to be a little bit darker on this left side of the foot than the front part of the foot. So just wanted to make sure I had that established. And then up and through here, I'm going to pick up a little bit of my burnt sienna to work my way out of the shadow a little bit. Like that. I'm going to put a little bit of this on this wrist. Just a little bit. I keep wiping my brush off on my paper towel just so you guys know what's happening here. A little bit burnt sienna on that wrist. There we go. And then definitely some on this back side of this arm. So the burnt sienna is going to help kind of deepen that suntanny kind of color. And my burnt sienna is transparent, so it will see the other colors underneath it. So where I had the brown as the shadow maker, it'll see that brown and it'll take on a darker, deeper look to it. I want a little bit of this kind of in this back side over here. A little bit in through here. Also in through here. So you can see I'm just kind of adding and then blending it out. So it gives me those suntanny kind of tones. There's a little bit on this ear. So I think I'm just going to kind of paint the ear with this so I know where that ear is, and I can, there we go, a little bit on this cheek, like that. Oh, he's so cute. Once you start adding these kind of finesse, these little details, it's fun. His hairline just kind of meets his face right in through here, so, and his face looks pretty tan, so we're just going to put a little bit of that burnt sienna on there. So, and a little bit more on the neck too, so a little bit more burnt sienna coming right in through here. So now that I've got that on there, I'm going to use a little bit of that a little bit of burnt sienna is going on back here too. I'm going to use some of that mid-tone color in order to blend these shadow colors into that mid color that we had created, going a little bit more burnt sienna on this underside of this arm too. And then we'll start building our way towards the highlight. He's got a little dimple in his elbow right here. I love noticing those little tiny things, because it shows the little baby fat and all of the softness to the skin. So that looks pretty good. I'm gonna now pick up my mid-tone skin tone and just put a second coat on anywhere that I have not painted yet. So just a second coat, just blending it into whatever shadows I have. So I have a second coat down in through here. Get that there's a little toe that's sticking up. There's that one, and this is where I can start to shape those toes a little bit. Kind of comes up like that. So this is just the original skin tone that I had used. That's one toe, two toes, three toes, and then his little two toes over here, 4 and 5. You can hardly tell that they're even separate. There we go. And as part of the foot is a little one. Okay. And then this other toe sticks out there. So again, my mid-tone, I'm doing a second coat because I want the skin to look nice and soft. So I find that if I was, like, my first layer of skin wasn't fully rendered, I could still see some of the canvas through, or some of those background colors through it. So this ensures this second layer that I'm kind of blending into the tan colors that I had put in there. This is going to ensure that I'm going to have a nice smooth transition into my light areas. So I'm just giving myself another layer so I can have a nice smooth transition into those lighter colors. I'm not using a lot of paint, but I am just making sure that they kind of blend in with one another. Again, I'm going to do the little layer on the face in through here, and I can't even see the eyes or anything like that. I think I might detect a little eyelash, but I'm not seeing much at all for details on that. And then little on this neck. And now I can start popping on my highlights. So my highlights, I'm going to use that light skin tone. I'm washing my brush and picking up some of that light skin tone. Definitely on this front toe and foot area. I think there's a little part of the other foot in through there. And you can go as heavy as you want. As you're working your way towards the highlights and those final kind of layers of information, you can definitely go heavier with your paint. I tend to work thin paint to thick paint. I gotta count the toes though first. I don't screw up the number of toes that this little person has. There we go, that's 5. That's 5 toes. And then it looks like it's pretty light in through here anyway, so we're just gonna kind of lighten that up, and then it gets darker as it comes back into the foot. So I'm going for light here, and then maybe pick up just a little burnt sienna as I'm working my way back in through here. So it's still got my light tone, but maybe a little pinker hue. That looks good. Something like that. And again, don't think that you have to go perfect. This is just a fun little painting. So you can make it into, that looks cute. On this leg over here, I think I'm gonna go, I got a little bit of my light color just on the edge in through here, and then a little bit of burnt sienna. I think I'm gonna go heavier on the burnt sienna. There we go. And just make sure that they kind of blend in through there. I mean, you could put little sandals on them. You could really put, have it into whatever you want. I think I need a little bit more. I'm picking up a tiny bit of red. I didn't say I was going to use red, but I'm going to pick up a little bit of red down in these heels just to give it a little bit of blood flow down there. There we go. That looks good. And then I'm going to move on up. I don't think those feet are cute. Maybe I'm going a little bit more my light skin tone plus white just on the little tippy toes. So a little sunshine, a little extra sunshine on the front part of those toes, something like that. And then looks like right here is a little lighter. So again, I'm just kind of looking for the light spots right now on the skin, and it's looking like, you know, he's got a cute little toe here, and then his other toes kind of curl over. So something like that looks good to me. And then this top part needs to go a little bit lighter. So it looks like he's got some morning sunshine happening all over the place. There we go. And of course you can fiddle with that as much as you want. I'm going to go up to his other skin with my light skin tone. Lots of lightness on this back side of the arm right in through here. So this is going to explain to the viewer that this arm is back, it is up, it's got, you know, it's catching a lot of the sunlight or whatever, wherever that light is coming from, the daylight, and then it just fades out into his forearm. So it's a big light area back in through here, and then it fades into his skin tone. So you can, it's got a little bit of lightness at the top of the shoulder, up in through here. So a little bit up and through there, blend it back. And I feel like I want more burnt sienna too, right in here. And then you just kind of fiddle with how bright you want it. So if I wanted it, it looks like it could even go lighter. So I can pick up a little bit of white. Yeah, it needs to go lighter. There we go. So a little bit of light in through there, and that'll make it also look fuller. So it'll make it look like it's got more, you know, I don't want to call it fat, but like baby. What else to call it other than little baby skin, soft baby skin. There we go. And then I see a little bit of this in through here. So again, just a tiny bit of my light skin tone. A little bit more than that so we can see it. There we go, in through there. Feel as though this could probably go up a little bit higher too. Or maybe the elbow needs to be out a little bit more. There we go. And then a little bit on that hand. So a tiny bit of my light skin tone in through here is going to bring that part of the hand. And it looks like there's even a little tiny highlight back here. And a little tiny highlight on the forearm. So I can take and put, oh, it's right up here. A little tiny highlight on that forearm. Just bring that down. Picking up a little bit of burnt sienna just to kind of blend that back. There we go. And a little bit more burnt sienna right up in this elbow crease. There we go. And then I'm going to go to the back. I'm picking up some of my light skin tone first though. Hold on. I feel like this needs to come over here a little bit further. Make this arm look a little bit fuller. There we go. And down just a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to go onto his back and this little left arm here. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more of my light skin tone, get this outer edge of the arm to have a little bit of lightness. The back itself, I don't see a ton of the lightness except for maybe up in this corner, right up and through here on the shoulder, right in through here, just a little tiny bit. And then I can just blend that back a little bit, making sure that it blends in through here. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that burnt sienna. And then there's a tiny highlight over here. So this again is just my light skin tone, just right on this edge right here. And then his ear going up into here with a little highlight on the tip of the ear, and then a little bit in through there, a little bit on the face cheek, right in through here. So the face cheek might be a little bit pinker. So if you felt that you wanted it to go pinker, you could certainly use a little bit of red, a little bit more red in your mixture. I'm going to pop a little white onto it just so I can have just a tiny extra bit of highlight right in through there. That was a little bit too aggressive. And then I'm picking up a tiny bit of brown for, it looks like a little bit of a eyebrow area in through here. Nothing much, just a teeny tiny bit. And I'm thinking that that's adorable. I could certainly, I'm adding just a tiny bit of red to my light skin tone, just to, you know, maybe pop a little extra pinkness into it. You could certainly do that if you wanted to or not. That's going to be up to you. And you can certainly continue to fiddle with this as much as you want. But once you've got it to a place that is comfortable to you and you are enjoying the results of it, we are going to be using this same brush for the next step. So you can just wash it and dry it and get ready. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to paint his hair. I'm going to be using my number 2 round. The colors I'm going to be using are black, brown, white, burnt sienna, and yellow, and maybe my main skin tone, that mid-tone. So he's super blonde, like almost white hair at the top. White hair at the top. But down in this bottom left, it's really shadowed. So I'm going to put some, a tiny bit of black, but also brown in this bottom left-hand corner. He's also got this cute little spot where his hair kind of splays out of, right, the back crown part. So we're going to darken that. And he's got these cute little, I remember my son, I used to do this to him, shaved little lines on the side of his head. So we're gonna put that in too. So I'm gonna start with a tiny bit of black, watered down black on my brush. Just watered down black. And I'm gonna put this really dark shadowy area in through here. So just tiny bits of black going on with water on my brush so it doesn't turn too dark or too much. The black or the water in it will make it transparent. If there's anywhere else where you feel like you could go that dark, you could certainly pop a tiny bit on, maybe just a little bit behind that ear. And then I'm going to pick up some brown without washing my brush, just pick up some brown, and I'm going to move further up this back side of the head. And I'm using a directional brush stroke. So what I mean by that is I am painting in the direction that I feel that the hair falls or is laying on this little person's head. So it's kind of just all super short. He's got really short hair, and it is just kind of taking on the contour of his head. So that's the direction that I'm moving my brush in. Just put a little bit more water with a little bit more brown on my brush. So in through here, he's got a little bit of darkness coming up right behind that ear. So again, the water on my brush is allowing me to keep it transparent and allowing me to control where I want these dark areas to be. His little cute area where his lines have been cut in his hair. There's one right around here. So just making my mark, and then there's a little one right underneath it. So just a little bit of watered down brown paint is where I'm going. It's also got these cute little sideburn, darker areas where the sideburn are. So again, this is just watered down brown paint on my brush right now. So it's going to help me control where all of these dark areas are going without, and I'm allowing for some of the undercolor to show too, because I'm using it as in watered down fashion. On the back side of this head, it's quite a lot of darkness kind of coming in through here. So I feel as though I might still have a little black left on my brush, so I'm going to wash my brush. And I'm going to go into brown and a little bit of burnt sienna. So brown and burnt sienna plus my water are now on my brush. Brown, burnt sienna, and a little bit of water. And this is going to get me gradually to go to those lighter spots. And again, just using that directional brush stroke around the back side here. Lots and lots of darkness. And then I'm picking up some burnt sienna to go into that little crown part. And it kind of splays out like this. Super cute. Like that. And then just wipe my brush off so I can kind of work my way out of here with whatever remnants around my brush. There's a little bit of darkness in through here. There we go. And then there's a couple of little dark streaks, if you will, between his hair to show kind of the direction. It's almost like they're bunched, the hair is kind of bunched together. So I'm going to give a couple of little longer directional brush strokes to imply those marks. So there's a couple kind of coming in through here. There we go. That looks good. And then just a little spin back here. Okay. So now that I've got that given me great start. I'm going to wash my brush and I need to work my way towards those blonde white tones. So my base coat here was my skin tone. So I can use that plus a touch of white to work my way out of here where I already kind of have those blonde little bits of the skin tone, that original skin tone in through here. This is going to give me my texture and it's going to allow me to start working my way out of those dark areas and into the light areas. I'm just kind of tapping my brush because it's really short hair. So again, this is the skin tone plus a touch of white. And there's a little, oh, that's kind of cute right in through there. And again, hardly any paint on my brush, just these little, I'm trying to follow the color pattern that I'm seeing in the picture. So adding just a little bit more white on my brush right now because this is a little bit lighter in through here. There we go. Those are those little marks on the side of this. It's so cute. And then I'm going to actually put just a tiny bit of water on my brush as I go through here. So this is my skin tone plus a little bit of white and water right now is on my brush as I'm going towards that light super blonde that we're going to immerse ourselves in a minute here. That looks good. And I'm really avoiding going, trying to go too high right now because I'm thinking I might almost just use white up there. So I think I want to go a tiny bit of yellow with white right now, just so I have a place to get a little luminosity volume into this blonde hair. So I'm going a little bit of dirty white plus a tiny bit of yellow as I'm working my way towards that bleachy blonde kind of, ooh, and I can use a little bit of my skin tone too. So I just made a super pale yellow and I picked it up with a tiny bit of my skin tone and I'm just really working my way towards that bright stuff at the top. So very gradual, just working my way. And then once I've got it fully established where it's gonna, the bright spots are all gonna be, then I can pound in some nice white stuff on top of it and it will allow, oh, this is so light up here. I'm just going for it. It'll allow me to have, because I'm starting with this light, super pale yellow, putting some white on top of it, you'll be able to actually see it and you'll be able to see a little bit of dimension in it. And then He's so blonde. So it's ridiculous how bright and light his hair is. It's awesome up at the top. I want to just go white, but I know if I just go white, I am gonna lose this progressive kind of dimensional element to it. So that's why I am definitely kind of refraining from going too light, too fast. I definitely need this to come down more though. As I've just stuck my head back a little bit, I am noticing this needs to definitely come down and be brighter in through here. So I'm allowing myself to do that. And then I will tackle the blonde on top. And this kind of comes down just a little bit further in through here. So I'm dipping my brush into my skin tone and that light yellow, and just allowing for, I'm trying to form it in the shape that I'm seeing it on the photo. So it's coming down, and it kind of is cresting. This area comes down lower than that area, so I need to bring this down just a little bit more. And these are the nuances I'm giving this head shape and form, and if I miss it, then I'm going to make this kid look like it's a different kid, because I've shaped its head differently than it actually is. So I'm just trying to follow those little nuances. I'm not going to get them all, but I can certainly attempt to get close enough, or close, so it's satisfactory to me. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, and then maybe just a little lightness in through here, just a little extra lightness to round out that head. Okay. All right, I'm going in for some white now. So washing my brush, and I'm gonna pick up, if I can find some clean white, I'll just dig underneath. There's always clean white underneath. Dig some little clean white. There we go. We got some good white. And then I'm gonna pop this on. Oof, we've got it right here. See, now you can see as I pop this white on how important that light yellow was. So if I didn't start there, I wouldn't be able to get this super brightness up at the top and through here. So just, be mindful as you're building stuff like this. Know that you can decrease the power of your white if you use it too soon. So just allow yourself that progression, and you won't have any problems building your way to a nice bright light color. I'm picking up a little bit of burnt sienna just to kind of get this to transition a little bit more. And then of course you can fiddle with it as much as you want. I'm thinking that that's pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more lightness on the front of his head. Bring this brightness down just a little bit so we can see how light this is next to his skin. And then of course I would step back from mine as I typically do and just see if there's any adjusting that I want to do. I might add a little bit more burnt sienna or a little bit more orangey tone. So I just picked up a little bit of burnt sienna and yellow and just kind of added, a couple additional hues into it, so you can certainly fiddle with it as much as you want. And then when you get it into a place that is comfortable to you, I think we're going to be using both our number 6 and this number 2 round brush for the next step, so you can just get ready. All right, so what we're going to do for the next step is we're going to finish all of our grassy stuff. So, and leaves and whatever other foliage and stick stuff you want to put at the bottom. I'm going to be using both my number 2 and my number 6 round brush. The colors I'm going to be using are black, brown, dark green, green, light green, maybe some burnt sienna. And if I use any other colors, I'll let you know. So I just want to resemble what I'm seeing in the photo, and there's a bunch of little grassy pieces kind of coming up in through here. There's some stick leafy stuff coming up over here, lots of greenery in through here with a little cute branch thing coming out, and then there's even a couple of foreground pieces of, they almost look like little pieces of wheatgrass that set this little person into into his own little oasis. So I really want to incorporate those. So I'm going to start with my number 6 round and get a lot of the bigger pieces in place, and then we'll switch to the smaller one to do the smaller pieces. I'm going to start, I feel like I just want to start with some of that dark green color to get some of these larger pieces in place. So when I'm doing stuff like this, again, I don't need it to be exactly as it is in the photograph, but I like to kind of definitely take inspiration from the photo and give similar type of things in it. So as I'm going through here, I'm seeing that there's these kind of cute little leafy things kind of coming out over in this area. So I'm just taking a look at the photo and saying, okay, oh, there's these kind of neat little splayed out leaves coming off of this branchy thing. So I am not making it look exactly like it is in the photo, but I'm allowing myself the liberty to take on some of those characteristics. Then there's a whole bunch of long grass that's just kind of in front of this person, this little person. So I want a couple pieces to look like they are definitely going on the other side of them. So even if you bump into him at this point, it's okay. You can come back and do little touch-ups on that, on his clothing and stuff like that. But I'm just starting with my dark green, allowing myself to understand where I want some of these bigger pieces to go. Down and through here, this is where I'm going to clean up the edge of the pans. We're going to do it with some foliage. And I'm using this larger brush to start because it will allow me to get bigger pieces in place and allow me a little bit more diversity in the size of the pieces of grass, so, and of the little foliage stuff. So as you're doing things of this nature, if you're looking to have it look, you know, on the more realistic side, I think one of the important things to kind of sorry, I'm just, before I say that, I just want to place where this is going to go, somewhere in through here. I think one of the important things is making, especially if you're doing something organic, trying to not make it look systematic. Use a brush that's going to allow you not a ton of control. That will help you to give the essence of it, give it, I'm picking up some green oxide now too, and a touch of black. So green oxide and a touch of black are going onto my brush. It will allow you to have that diversity in the little leaves. It'll allow you to be a little bit freer with your marks, and it'll allow it to look a little bit more realistic if you've got those different shapes and those different textural kind of elements that were created by a brush that might not have been the perfect brush for the job, but it's going to give you that those fun organic kind of looks to it. So I did my dark green. Over here I added a little bit of black. Now I'm going to wash my brush and I'm going to go in for some lighter colors. So this is where I could use my light green color that we made when we were doing that the fishing pole. So I'm going to go light green. I'm going to use multiple colors on my brush. I'm going to use light green and green oxide. So now I'm going to get these beautiful vibrant tones throughout this grass. And I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to try and overdo it. I really want the the star of the show to be my little fisherman, but I do, again, if I'm wanting to be true to the photo, I definitely need to add some of these additional things in here. So that's where I'm headed. I'm headed to, ooh, there's a whole bunch of this brighter green stuff down by his little feet in through here too. So let's Let's add little bushels of stuff down in through here. And again, I'm using a brush that is probably too big for what for making a specific mark, but it is allowing me to make these really organic marks. So it's just my shtick. I like to do that when I want something to look really nice and natural. There's a couple little fun things over here, some little green stuff over and through there, and I will switch brushes in a minute to my smaller brush, but I'm picking up some more of that light green plus a little bit of the green oxide is on my brush. There's some little textural stuff in through here, couple little longer pieces in through here, and you can see how it's really just kind of coming together with those light areas and the dark areas, and it's allowing for some nice texture in this grass. I just put a tiny bit of water on my brush because I want kind of a skinnier piece in through here. Oh, that was too much. I don't want to go over my ripple too much. There is grass right in front of the ripple in the photo, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to put it in front of my, but I'm picking up a little bit more green oxide to make some of these a little darker, but I like my ripple. And then I'm going to hit these guys over here with some of that green oxide and a little bit of that light green. And again, not going all the way, just kind of popping some of these light tones on here so we can have something that is representational of what we're seeing in the photo. That looks pretty cool. Some green, little bright green stuff over here. I'm seeing some little bright green stuff down in through here. So this is the light green plus some green oxide, and that's going to give me these vibrant little tones that I'm seeing. I think that's good before I switch my brush here. So I think I'm gonna put a little bit of this light green in through here. Okay, I'm gonna switch brushes now. So I'm going into my number 2 round, and this is where I'm gonna add some dark twigs and stuff. I'm gonna pick up some brown burnt sienna. So brown and burnt sienna are on my brush together right now. So there's some little kind of fun dark marks within here. So I'm just gonna kind of incorporate these little essence. I don't even know what they are, but I'm seeing some burnt sienna type of tones here and there. So let's just put them in. They don't have to be anything fancy, just kind of they look like, some look like little grasses, some look like they're little sticks. So I'm just mark making right now. I'm seeing some little fun longer things in through here, just little red tones, which I think are super cool. I don't see any really in through here. I see some sticks over here to connect these guys. I just picked up a little bit more brown. So these guys have some little sticks and stuff connecting them. And again, it doesn't have to be one for one. You just enjoy the process. So I am, again, using the photo as my inspiration, but you, of course, can play with this as much as you want. Going burnt sienna plus a little bit of yellow. I feel like this guy in through here's got little funky tones to it. So we're going to just incorporate those. A little bit more burnt sienna and brown. Give myself some sticks and stuff, kind of just incorporate over here. Could even pick up a little bit of black. I just picked up a little bit of black. Can put some little darker marks. Maybe there's some little dark stuff happening in through here. You can put some longer sticks and grass and stuff with black because it's going to be a contrasting color in front of the rock too. So or lighter or darker color, so whatever you want. I feel like I need a little bit more darkness in through here. And then I'm going to start popping in some really bright tones. That looks good. And you can even use the darker tones to add shadows within your grass too. So you can do those sideways marks with dark, and that'll give you some little shadowy marks within your grass. That works. And then I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to start adding some little pops of greenery here. So let's see here. Let's go with some green oxide and some of that light green. I think I need to make more of my light green, so I'm making more of my light green. And a little bit of white. And of course, again, it doesn't have to be, it's not going to end up being the same light green, which is great. And you can use it in conjunction with other stuff too. So I'm seeing it a little bit up and through. I'm going to use light green plus a little burnt sienna. That's going to give me a nice, just a nice unique kind of light green type of earthy light green, and just kind of popping on these little dots to make that into something special. Now I'm going light green plus a little bit of white on my brush, so I can have some beautiful, just sun-kissed pieces of grass just popping their head through this. And this again is my light green plus a little bit of white on my brush. So as I go through this process and I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to do next? It doesn't have to be exactly as what you're seeing in the photo. I'm just seeing these light green tones right now, and I really want to incorporate the vibrancy of the summer. So I'm seeing this chaotic mixture of all these different little pieces of foliage and grass and stuff in through here. So that's where I'm headed. I'm headed in a place where I'm trying to get similar tones, I'm trying to get similar textures, but I don't need it to match every little piece exactly. I just want little bits of sunshine in through here, and I'm picturing there to be, you know, a frog sleeping in here somewhere, or a little butterfly is ready to land on this kid's shoulder. Those are the kind of things that I'm thinking of as I'm just mark making right now. I'm doing lots of longer brush strokes. I'm switching my colors up. I'm adding burnt sienna with my light green. That's really creating some fabulous tones for me visually. Light green plus the white plus the green oxide will work for different tones as well. So I'm just kind of allowing myself to visually enjoy the process and to add as much information as I want to. You know, that's the key. I'm going a little bit more light green plus maybe light green, yellow, and white. That'll give me a nice extra brightness onto some of these. And I think another key is to just not make it all super light, not make it all super dark. Allow for those contrasts in your colors, but you know, control yourself while you're at it, which I have a difficult time controlling myself. Once I start this final process, I'm like, oh my God, I love all this stuff. All these bright colors and these light marks and these exciting little nuances. They just really excite me. So as I'm coming into this place of the painting, boy, I have a hard time stopping, because this is kind of like putting the icing on the cake, and it's so exhilarating to me, and it's so fun, and I can just sit here and mark make all day long, just adding these little pops of green or color or, you know, texture, and I've got all of my important pieces in place. Now it's time for me to play, and that's when you know, you have to find where your control or where your visual preference lies. So I'm digging all that stuff. I want to have a couple of pieces in front of my little person here. So I'm just, whatever's on my brush right now, I just added a little bit of water to. And we're just going to go for it. So in the picture, I don't know if I'm going to put them in the exact same spots, but oh, this is a commitment here. We're going to... I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna bring this up and over. Yeah, I was debating, and now I'm no longer debating, because I knew that it would add that extra spatial information. So just go for it. When in doubt, just paint more. There's a really cool one kind of coming in front of this foot. So let's do it. Let's go for it. And it's going to come down here and down, over and up. And it would be great to use this to hide stuff. So if you had little things that weren't your favorite part of the painting, hide it with a little cute piece of grass, hide it with, you know, a fun little extra doodad or something. There's a greenery thing kind of coming up in through here. So I'm just kind of, again, allowing myself to use the little nuances in the photo to, you know, take it or leave it. If I wanted it to add to my painting, I use it. If I don't want it, I leave it. So take it or leave it, as my mother used to always tell me. You either take it or you leave it. So I'm thinking that that's pretty cool. I don't really need much more to this. I just picked up a little bit more yellow, white, maybe pop a little kind of textural element on this guy in through here. And then once you've got yours into a place that is pleasing to your eye and you're content with all the mark making that you have done, we are going to be using this same small brush for the next step. So you can just wash it and dry it and get ready. All right, so we are on to the final step. This is the final step of every painting, which is to sign it. So I typically sign mine in the lower left or the lower right. I'm going to be using my number 2 round. I'm going lower left with black paint. I like to sign mine with my initials, but you of course can sign yours however you want. You can sign it on the back, you can sign it with your full name on the front, you can make up a special symbol, you can hide it in your painting. Whatever you want to do is totally up to you because it is your painting. You get to identify it however you would like. And that is going to conclude this painting. I really hope that you enjoyed the process. I hope you got yourself a couple of good tips on painting little people, and I look forward to painting and sipping with you again sometime.